As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Get breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.
I forgot my jacket, and I think that, but I'll leave the heat on, so I'm not going to get froze out here in the office, but I'm kind of in a wife beater. Sorry guys, it is what it is. It is what it is. I like my tank tops. I wear them often. I usually wear them under my shirt, so you just don't know it. So we're just kind of here. I just had my little thingy over my shoulders this morning, but I just realized I started with my hair kind of a mess, forgot my drink. I only got a cup of coffee. This is the last cup of coffee. So I might have to find an excuse to put something on here and disappear for a few minutes. I'm just saying, the things that go behind these cameras, you guys will never know if I run across. Only if I slip and fall, then you guys will know, because I might not be back here by the time the segment is over. I hope everybody's doing good. If you guys haven't noticed, you guys have survived the week. You guys are officially at the end of the week. Congratulations. You didn't kill up the old bets. You're not going down for homicide. You know who might be going down for some homicide? I'm just saying. We ain't getting there yet. But somebody going down. Somebody going down. So I'm Bullhorn Betty. We're covering the case of Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. We plugged in about 7 more interviews. So we have a total of 10 interviews from Katie and Chris, and now 14 interviews from Seth Rogers. 13 interviews from Seth Rogers, and we did upload the Nina interview. I know that Nina interview was super, super important to our audience here. It's super, super important to our audience here because Nina is an integral part of all this. She has a child with Christopher Proudfoot. She was on the phone with Christopher Proudfoot shortly after Sebastian went missing. She has had a relationship with Chris Proudfoot. She has a lot of intimate details about Chris Proudfoot, his behavior toward children, toward her, toward women, in general, his who he is, right? Who he is. Not a good guy. Okay, Chris Proudfoot is not a good guy. We're not going to sit here and put Mr. Proudfoot on a pedestal because he's not a good guy. We don't like him. We don't like him at all. He's abusive. He thinks that he can use his screaming and his demeanor and his to intimidate people. And, it sounds like he's pissed a lot of people off throughout his life for his own personal behavior. And he's ultra strict to an autistic child because he's an idiot. Okay, there's no other excuse, no other explanation other than Christopher Proudfoot is a bonehead. But either way, we're going to try to keep it clean. We're going to try to keep it clean. I ain't keeping it scripted today because we have a couple stuff that we are going to go over before we jump into Sebastian Rogers' case or what we've learned. But of course, adding Nina's interview in this changes some things, right? This gives the system a little more perspective on some of the things going on inside the house or in things that went on historically in Christopher's life. It's just a little piece of additional information we can plug into the system and see what it all could mean in the grand scheme of things, right? And of course, there's another topic. It's not really necessarily what Nina knows because I think she knows a lot. I think she knows a lot and just doesn't realize how important the information she does know really will help Sebastian's case. But there's another tidbit of information that we're going to get into that is very, 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 very important. Anyways, Melanie, it's nice to see you as always. Thanks you for being here. We've got Medic Biker. It's nice to see you, love. I hope you're doing well. Tammy, Mama Bear, it's nice to see you. Candace, V Daz, it's nice to see you. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty channel. I'm Bullhorn Betty. The people in the chat are your new family. Let them 66, Oma, it's nice to see you. Nani, hello, Mama. It's nice to see you. Who else do we have? YouTuber, always here, always blowing the bullhorn. Toot, 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 toot. Kathleen, it's nice to see you. Good morning, or good afternoon, good gracious, good evening. Oh, be Betty says you must have wrote something. Oh, it's so sweet. Hold on, I'll get down there. It's nice to see you, Shadow. Oh, there it is. 43 months with the love machine. Ow! Ow! All right, Linda, Crystal Pistol, True Crime Justice. It is so nice to see you, ladies. Deanna, Samantha, good morning, good evening. I know it's kind of hard. One of these days I'll get it right. Stacy Ann, it's nice to see you. Samantha, is it Kylie's Nail Candy? Oh, it's nice to see you. Jewel, big hugs and loves. Oh my goodness, thank you, Melanie. Hope we get some news on Sebastian. He has been missing way too long. He is the reason I'm on your channel, BHB. Sending love. Oh, that is so sweet. I appreciate that. Yeah, we're trying, I think what the problem is I'm beating my head against a hard surface. We all know something bad has happened. I mean, we feel it in our guts, we feel it in our bones, and we're so sick and tired of idiots telling us that what we're feeling shouldn't be what we're feeling. Hey, West Virginia Holler Girl, it's nice to see you. Tammy, hello. It's nice to see you. So, we just have, I think what it comes down to is that we just really want to, one, understand the case, and not just understand the case, but see if maybe some of the tools, the more recent tools like AI can give us an edge and help us, as we plug in information, maybe it's something we're missing that AI will pick up. Maybe we're just not connecting the dots. We know what we know. We know that it needs to be proven. We know it can be proven. And we know we can bring Sebastian home. We're convinced, at least I'm convinced, that This has probably gone a little further than us being able to bring him back okay. But, we always keep optimistic, and we pray to God that we get to bring him home okay, and that he will have a long life. But we know what we know. We're plugging this stuff into the system. The system is saying that based upon all of this information, he's most likely deceased. Does that mean he's most likely deceased? No, it doesn't. But I think when we look at the reality of the totality of this case, I truly believe that we're looking at a situation where a child was hurt. He was hurt gravely, and immediate concealment started taking place. So with the conversation with Katie Proudfoot, I think my biggest hope, right, is a situation like Alec Murdaugh. If you guys are unfamiliar with Alec Murdaugh was a South Carolina, well-known South Carolina, comes from a very prominent family. He was utilizing substances. He was robbing people blind as an attorney. He was laundering money. He was he was doing a lot of criminal activity, and he got caught. And he didn't get caught. His son ended up accidentally killing a young girl on their family boat. And it kind of broke open a lot. Oh, thank you. Sending prayers, our prayer warrior. Let them 66. Sending prayers to Seth and Sebastian every day. Hope he's found soon. Saddens me that these kids aren't found. I pray every day. Thank you for all you do. Oh, thank you for all you do as well. Yes, these things do bother us. Crystal Pistol, it's nice to see you. Sandy, good evening. It's our good, I don't know what it is up there where you're at, but it's nice to see you. It's nice to see you. Me and you. Hello, hello. If they take this to court, would they tell the jury, don't believe what you see, no matter how he comes home, he still lives, no matter what. This child of God, come home, will bring closure. Yeah, I agree with you. I agree. Hey, Nancy, it's nice to see you. Good. I'm glad you guys, I know, hopefully you guys have been bundled up today. So I think one of the issues that we've had from the beginning of this case is that Katie Proudfoot and Chris Proudfoot have seemed very, very, very cold. Very cold. I mean, literally from the beginning of this case, just very cold, very callous, very calculated, very strategic. And those are not things that you like hearing about a parent of a missing child. You know what I'm saying? It's cold here. It's cold everywhere. It warmed up a little bit here in Florida, but I'm just letting you know tomorrow a front's moving in. It's going to be raining. Sunday, we're going to be freezing our balls off. Any other way to put that. It kind of sucks a little bit, but I think we're all kind of going to be cold together, even us from Sunshine, Florida, from molten lava. Our molten lava is going to be crusty lava, frozen lava, right? We're all freaking freezing. That's the first thing I asked Melanie, because she's usually one of the first people that come into the chat. So she's here, so I check on her, and I'm like, I hope you stay warm. She's like, in the house. I mean, she's in PA, like it's -2 degrees, poor thing. And anybody else that's further north than Florida, right? You guys are all like, burr. I feel bad for you. Like, I feel a little, I feel like you guys are a little jelly a little bit, because I'm in Florida. When I hear yours, it's like 18 degrees, and it's like, hey, what is it for you, Bets? It's 40 degrees over here. And I'm freezing my tail off. But, when you hear about yours, it's like, it makes it a little bit different. Erna, it's nice to see you. No ifs. I'm hopeful that Sebastian notices for this February gets sent to higher up Tennessee officials. They might be interested to attend. Yeah, I don't, that would be nice, but what I found in the state of Tennessee is a lot of their politicians love to be in front of the camera during election times when their elections are up, and they like to campaign on a lot of strong promises, but when you reach out to them for real life shit, they don't want to respond to you. Why do you think I'm taking on the whole freaking state of Tennessee? Okay? You don't see any loyalty here for Marsha Blackburn, Bill Lee. You see nothing from me. The only person I highly respect in that state is Tim Burchett. And unfortunately, he's got no freaking email. I got to try to call his office. I got to try to finagle some time with, his people. And it's like pulling teeth. Great guy. He's strong. I'm watching the work he's doing with one of our, senators or House members down here. What is Paulina? Is she a member? I can't remember. She's in Congress. But anyways, Paulina Luna. And that's from Florida. That's in our area. So I see the work that she's doing with our politicians here. They've been working together to really hone in. And Paulina is a representative. So it's been nice to see her working. Is she a representative or is she a senator? Good gracious, I can't remember. Because we have hundreds of House members. We only have a handful of senators. So it should be, but I can never remember who's who because there's so many that I remember. But I'll get it straight. It's not a big deal. Why is this running both of these? Hold on, let me pause these. But I do appreciate you all being here, Faye. But before we get started on this, there's a few things that are breaking right now, okay? And one of those breaking is the actress Kathleen O'Hara died, okay, just on the heels of Diane Keaton. This was another short, brief, illness, right? I'm sorry, but this is why I did not get injected with the vax, okay? This is exactly why. It causes problems in your lungs. It causes many hemorrhages of blood vessels and lungs and everything else in your heart. There's a lot of reasons why I chose not to get this whole COVID or get the jab. Okay, I think that's what they call it, getting the jab, right? And so the people that were forced to get the jab because you couldn't go on a plane, there were some places that were literally being so tyrannical, mostly in blue states, which is funny because they're the ones that always say no kings, but when it's convenient for them, they'll send the freaking National Guard and start shooting pepper balls at families on their own front porch to get them in their house. If that's not insanity, I don't know what is. And they want to say that our military having to go and get these illegal immigrants and deport them is somehow tyrannical. Can you imagine having a pepper ball shot at you from your government living in America? And mostly they were in blue states, California, Minnesota, Pennsylvania, Maryland, Massachusetts. You guys, no, we're not going to let you do that. We're not going to forget. So anyways, if you guys don't know who Catherine O'Hara is, she's on one of my later beloved Schitt's Creek. I love that. I watch it periodically. I do like a binge, like every year or a couple years. I do a binge on Schitt's Creek. That's hilarious. And of course, Beetlejuice. You guys know her from Beetlejuice well. She's been in a lot of other different programs that we've watched over the years. And just she's always been a fanatically loud, over-exaggerated actress. She was always embellished. Her parts were always embellished. Home Alone, Home Alone mom, where she's screaming and she's just extra. But her parts they belong. They deserve the extra, right? So I just wanted to stop for a few moments, let you guys hear this update about actress Catherine O'Hara dying at 71, a young 71 years old.
All right, I'm going to get you now to some breaking news. Award-winning actress and comedian Catherine O'Hara has died. She was 71 years old. She's best known for her roles in movies like Home Alone, Beetlejuice, Best in Show. She then moved to television, where she won an Emmy and Golden Globe for her role on Schitt's Creek. No cause of death has been revealed at this point. Let's get out to the Newsnation senior story editor Paula Froelich.
Pneumonia or many, I don't know what they call them when the blood vessels burst, but many hemorrhages and stuff like that. There's just a lot of stuff. I'm sorry, but these people jumping on the bandwagon that they did, there was going to be some major results and consequences because of that. And it's unfortunate They all did it to themselves. I'm going to live a happy, healthy life. I worry about anybody that took that jab. And I know that you guys might want to start talking to your doctors. Aneurysms. Thank you, Oven Baby. Aneurysms. Yep. That's it. And so these are things that have been well known. And even though, and the mini strokes. Yep. These things have been well known and well documented because of the jab. Okay. And people didn't want to listen because they have a movie star or a singer or, Catherine O'Hare saying you need to take it. Right. And so a lot of people did. And then you had businesses forcing you to take it. Nothing tyrannical about that. Then you had the federal government saying, hey, if you want to work for us, you need to take it. Nothing tyrannical about that. And if you don't get in your house, we're going to start shooting you with rubber bullets and pepper balls until you go inside your house. Nothing tyrannical about that. Nothing tyrannical about that at all. Trump trying to get the illegal immigrants out of our country. Now, by God, that's tyrannical. One is saturated in Constitution, and the other one is not. The other one is truly tyrannical. And guess who invoked the tyranny? The Democrats. I know you guys don't like hearing it. That's the truth.
Paula, this breaking news, I'm shocked by this. I know this is just coming out. What more can you tell us at this point?
Well, first of all, I am devastated. I mean, she was one of my favorite actresses and starred in my favorite movies, like Waiting for Guffman, anything done by Christopher Hayden Guest. We don't know the cause of death right now. The news just broke. We'll be keeping an eye on it. But I can tell you that all the people she worked with are absolutely devastated. She was so lovely. And, the entire Christopher Hayden Guest crew with Eugene Levy and all those people, they worked very closely together for a very long time. She and Eugene Levy knew each other from Canada when they were in little skits and sketch comedy groups. And it's a lot. It's really sad because we all thought that there were many more movies that she would bring joy into our lives.
Absolutely.
So just to throw out there, all the people, left-wingers, you guys did this. And nobody's going to convince me otherwise. I don't care what that report says. The bottom line is, I guarantee we're going to find out she took the jab, and we're going to find out, just like we did with Diane Keaton, it's probably a lung, breathing, something like that going on in her body. Again, that's just my opinion, nothing factually stated. We will wait until the report, whatever the report is on Catherine O'Hara, we will let you know. Okay, but I have a funny, hey, Turkey Man, it's nice to see you. How is all the coffee today? Well, I have been having my indulgence all day on espresso. I feel like I'm quite awake. I'll say quite awake. And I had a nap today, which I never get a nap. But apparently my body said, you done, son. And I took a nap today, and then I had more espresso. So I'm like, I don't know. I feel like I can go for another 12 hours. I think I'm good. Hopefully everybody else is good. Everybody's walking in from work, freezing their little tail off, and they're saying, give me a cup of coffee. Give me a cup of coffee. I've been drinking it all day. So there you guys got it. As many of you know, we are learning, we learned on our first show this morning, Don Lemon is truly, in fact, arrested. Okay. We have, it's very obvious, at least for me, that we have two levels and two tiers of justice in this country. And it has played out in real time over this domestic terrorist, Don Lemon. Don Lemon, yes, he used to have been a journalist. Okay. But at the end of the day, he was fired. I am so sick of all of these lies. Listen, these news organizations know that Don Lemon was fired. They know he was fired. There's no ifs, ands, or about it, but they still call him a CNN journalist. He's an ex-CNN journalist because he was fired, okay? He was fired. He became radioactive. Nobody wanted to touch him. Why? Because he was sick in the frickin' head. He was delusional. Now his rich husband has to take care of him and support him financially because he's a loser. He went out there. He broke into a church. He protested with a mob. He's a domestic terrorist, okay? And guess what he was charged with? He was charged with the KKK Act and the FACE Act. Don Lemon is no different than the Ku Klux Klan. So you want to know who the new Jim Crow is and who the party of Jim Crow has always been? The Democratic Party. That's right. Jim Crow was part of the Democrats back then. And obviously they haven't gotten the Jim Crow out of their party since. I'm sorry, but we're not giving y'all a free pass. He was charged with the Ku Klux Klan Act, folks, okay? And the Ku Klux Klan Act is 18 U.S.C. 241, conspiracy to deprive rights. He is a domestic terrorist. And I want to make sure that you guys understand this is not some witch hunt from the Trump administration. As a matter of fact, we had so many social justice warrior judges and corrupted judges that nobody would arrest this man. Nobody would sign the arrest warrant. So you know what they did? They went and got normal Minnesotans, sat them all down, and that's called a grand jury. And then they presented their entire file to this grand jury. So guess what happened? Don Lemon was actually got the true bill, this true bill back from the citizens of Minnesota. So the citizens of Minnesota listened to the information under this grand jury, and they decided that Don Lemon there was probable cause to charge him with the KKK Act and the FACE Act. It took a grand jury to get it done. It sure did. And I want to remind everybody, I don't want to hear that this grand jury will indict a ham sandwich, okay? Because let's remember who saved Bullhorn Betty. When I was dealing with a corrupt government, and I was dealing with corrupt politicians, judges, and sheriffs, and they threw me in jail, and then they tried to railroad my rights, who do you think gave me my rights back? That grand jury. That very grand jury is the one that said I did nothing wrong and did not give them a true bill back. They were ready to railroad me in Sumner County, Tennessee. Railroad me. Joan Fonda's out running her old mouth. That's okay, Kentucky Live, that old broad. You know, she's a drunk anyways. Nobody gives a shit about what the hell she says. Most of these people have alcohol, drug problems, emotional problems. Nobody gives a shit about, Hollywood anymore. If you haven't noticed, we're defunding the crap out of Hollywood. That's why they're bitching so much. You know what they should have done? They should have immediately directed course, because once this is all said and done, their careers are over. Many of them are going to be filing bankruptcy in the next 10 to 15 years. I guarantee it. We cut off all their money through the NGOs. We will never allow them to touch federal funds again or filter our federal funds again through these money laundering schemes with the NGOs, which a lot of these movie stars and stuff had. They were stealing money from us, the American people, to pad their lofty lifestyles in between their movies. Did you guys know that? How many of you guys knew that? If you guys didn't know that, yeah, George Clooney, all that money he has, that was your taxpayer money. The majority of it. Right? Because he only made movies here and there. And yeah, he got $20 million here and $20 million there. But how long do you think that's going to last a man that spends money like water, that goes through $1 million every week? That's going to get him through a half a year. Where do you think his money's been coming from all these years? You know? I've been screaming bloody murder every time you see anything, and they do all of these, concerts and stuff like that. Do you know they were stealing money from us? All these people would come out and do these concerts to raise money for the Palestine, whatever thing, all this other stuff, even these controversial issues like Gaza and stuff like that, where they came out and those musicians stole the money. And they spread it around. They would throw a little money in the coffers just for appearance. But who do you think pocketed that money? Okay, now that you guys are understanding why I don't care what Hollywood says, why I don't care. They have a vested interest in this charade because they're making hand over fist money off the backs of us. They got more money than God, live in these beautiful houses, and they still want to steal from the middle class. How sick can Hollywood be? Oh, that's right. They go overseas so they can, do terrible things with little children. I forgot about that. And when they still have urges, they end up getting themselves put in jail for those urges, don't they? So anyways, Kentucky Light, 'cause I'm a love machine. Ow! Oh, look at that, River. You got your gifted membership from Kentucky Life for. Oh, yay, Riv. I love it. I love that for you. Welcome to this crazy family, even though you've been part of it for a really long time. Welcome to this crazy family we call the Coffee Club, i.e. the Insane Asylum. Grab your straitjacket in your padded room and welcome aboard. Welcome aboard. It's nice to see you. Grand jury for Sebastian. Yeah, I know. Maybe that's what we need to start doing. Maybe we need to start looking at how to force some of these things forward. It's not going to be pretty, but I mean, what the hell? Why not? Do we have enough? Do they have enough? And they probably won't. Because you can't push nothing forward without the state attorney. And the state attorneys around Tennessee don't like circumstantial cases. Again, it's a culture. Okay? Unfortunately, it's a culture. So anyways, I like this Matt Morse TV. Actually, it's funny because one of our beloved audience members turned me on to this guy a few months ago. So I kind of been watching him and listening to him, and I really, really like him. Now, he has the real known radio voice when he talks and everything like that, but I do want to tell you, it's quite good content. Roll that beautiful bean footage.
Offo, first you effed around, now we found out. Now he found out. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have earlier today, gotten a hold of the appeals paperwork confirming that the first judge's refusal.
I do like this guy. I shouldn't be mocking him, but it makes me wonder, should I change it? Hi guys, this is Bullhorn Betty, and you will never believe the information we have today. Don Lemon has been arrested. He has been arrested in California late last night. And guess what? Oh, he's great though. He's great, and he does great work. Okay, he's well known too. Okay, so I should quit mocking. I'm not trying to mock him or make fun of him, but I love the voice. I kind of wish I had the voice. Like, hello, good evening, and tonight our breaking news is drum roll, please. Where's my drum roll? There it is. And we have a sour face. Well, you know what? It might be vision, okay? Because you guys, we got to remember Dolly's comment about the scowl on my face, okay? And if you guys remember, the scowl on my face was a scowl on my face before I got these spectacles here. And then all of a sudden, the scowl, like even my wrinkles in the middle of my forehead, started going away because I didn't have to go like this. And I'm thinking, man, that does look like a mean scowl, doesn't it? And it was just my vision. So anyways, he's got some important information here. So I'm gonna steal just a few moments of this hour-long video. Let me throw this out in the chat just in case you want to watch the whole thing. I actually enjoy his content. And if you're into this kind of stuff and this politics stuff, you might enjoy his content as well. So there you go. His name is Matt Morris TV. He's got quite the following. He's got quite the following. He's got 721 subscribers. Okay, now that I'm done. So if you guys know, I do have a radio voice too. I just don't like using it. It sounds too professional for this Bullhorn Betty channel, and I'm sorry, we just don't do that.
To sign off on a warrant for Don Lemon was totally unjustified.
Puppy,
Remember,
it's
about a week
nice
and a half
to
ago,
see you.
the DOJ tried to petition a judge in
Sigby,
Minnesota
it's
State
nice to see you too,
sign
Michelle.
off on an arrest warrant, on an indictment for this guy, for Don Lemon, and the judge said, no, I'm not going to do it. Well, we got the paperwork. We have all the paperwork.
Can you imagine going to a judge, having all your paperwork, and because somebody is well known, they're like, no, I ain't gonna sign that. But you have these judges, guys, this is serious stuff. Okay, this is serious stuff that affects all of us, whether we're independent, whether we're Republican or Democrat, because the important part is there's 2 tiers of justice, and we have fought tooth and nail to end this 2 tiers of justice, right, in our country. And to hear that somebody, because he's popular, will not get an arrest warrant, knowing if you, no matter who you are, but you, the normal person, did the same thing, you would be under the jail. I mean, I think this really should concern, and I think it does concern a lot of people. I know I'm concerned about it because I used to have such a positive, I know that our criminal system is not perfect, right? We understand that our criminal system is not perfect. We realize our laws are not perfect, but we try to, work within the confines of this imperfect law, right? And it's never going to be perfect because there's nothing that's ever going to be perfect in this world. It's just not. A tree, a dog, a human being, a baby, nothing is ever perfect. We all have our issues, even little babies, right? Maybe one doesn't cry, maybe one cries too much, maybe one's gassy, maybe one pees and poops more than the other. I mean, right? So let's not, there's nothing perfect in this world. So we're never going to get perfection. But, we still have this semblance of, this justice is supposed to be blind. That means somebody with a lot of money or somebody with no money are treated equally in the eyes of our courts. And this really takes the blinders off in a situation like this where you realize that's not the case. And it's not the case because judges have failed the people, not the imperfect laws, the people enforcing them. And it's sad because at the end of the day, they don't have a right not to enforce the laws that our legislative branch has put out. There are 3 branches of government: judicial, which enforces the laws of the legislature, and the president, right? The executive orders of the president. They're the lowest man on the totem pole. So I guess I shouldn't say lowest man. They all have 3 equals of government, 3 equal tiers of government. So at the end of the day, they are to carry out what the legislature. These are laws that the legislature put in place. It is not the ability. They have to follow the law, and they're not. They're not following the law. Anyways, there's River. It's nice to see you. Carrier, it's nice to see you as well. Good morning. Good gracious. Andra. Sorry. Good evening. Okay, good evening. Good evening, guys. Good evening. So let's get through this. We got one more thing to go over, and then we're going to get into Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers.
Pertaining to that dynamic today.
If you're just coming in, we just went over Happy Cappy. If you're Vicky, if you guys are just coming in, we just went over Catherine O'Hara. She passed away at 71 years old. These are just the breaking news cases that we're covering right now. So please come back. Hey, Turkey Man, what does it say? If it doesn't fit, you must have quit. Yeah, that's about it. But they're trying to not even allow him to be before peers. He needs to go to court over this. What he did was wrong. Okay, I'm an independent journalist, and had I done that, I would be in jail. So no, you don't get special treatment. Who the hell do you think you are to get special treatment? I think that's the way the rest of the world looks at this situation as well. Damn these judges. And the judges that did this and refused to enforce our laws need to be impeached. And they need to have reprimands on their official record. They need to be retrained and dethroned.
Got released. The DOJ actually did, in fact, have probable cause of criminal wrongdoing. So the initial failure to arrest was not actually the DOJ's fault. It was the fault of this far-left, radically progressive judge that was politicizing the judiciary. Does that sound familiar? Yeah, of course. So we now know.
So we know that this was going on, but the question is why? You know, why are we having this go on? We deserve to have a blind judiciary. And right now, we have a very politicized judiciary. Those judges should be ashamed of themselves and immediately stripped of their authority. If you don't know how to follow the law, you have no business presiding over it.
The DOJ had proof. DOJ had evidence. DOJ put that proof and evidence in front of the judge. The judge said, I'm not going to do anything. Sorry. Classic far left politicization of the judiciary here. Now, so what happened here is this: because a far left activist judge refused to do their job, the DOJ put evidence of Don Lemon's crimes and criminal wrongdoings in front of a Minnesotan state grand jury comprised of everyday random citizens from Minnesota, Minnesotans, and they determined that there was, in fact, enough evidence for a criminal indictment.
Wow. Okay. So, this is what we are going to discuss. Now we just heard a few different segments from this program under fair use. And what we learned is that we've had activist judges not be willing to sign a lawful arrest warrant for a man that broke the law, that didn't just break the law, but violated the FACE Act as well as the Conspiracy to Deprive Rights, or better known as the KKK Act, okay? He's a domestic terrorist. He's being charged with domestic terroristic charges. And I do believe they will be successful. I believe that he's going to be getting a divorce soon. I believe that there are troubled times in his marriage. He was this well-known CNN anchor or reporter that made a lot of money. He married a very wealthy guy, and then he got fired because he's a delusional idiot. And now his husband has been supporting him ever since. And now his husband's got to pay for this ridiculous and probably very expensive criminal suit. This is going to be enough to break this family apart, in my opinion. We'll see how it works. But I think Don Lemon just ruined his career. I think he just ruined his marriage. And I think he just ruined his life. And there's not going to be anybody to blame but himself. He's been provided every opportunity to stop the nonsense, and he has failed to do so. Okay, now there's also one last breaking news that came in since this morning's show, and this is related to Tom Homan. We watched Tom Homan this morning. He was saying that he's worked with Tim Walz. He's worked with Jacob Fry. He's talked to A.G. Ellison. All of these are fraudsters. All of these are criminals that are running the state of Minnesota. But he's still trying to work within that system. Yeah, he's about the whitest guy I know. Yeah, he pretty much is. Yeah. And so what we have here is now, because they're fraudsters, I didn't really trust them anyways. And I knew Tom Homan was kind of iffy. He's like, they seem like they're stand-up guys. I would expect that they would do everything that they say. And then, of course, Ellison is like, oh, I didn't make this deal, right? Because his political future is in the line. I wouldn't be worried about your political future. I'd be worried about going to jail. But you know what? We got Pam Bondi. So, I mean, she's a freaking joke. So it seems like this new AG guy this new lieutenant or deputy AG that's going for the fraudsters, it seems like he's got balls. It seems like they're not wanting to make a huge political maneuver that's going to hurt the MAGA base or anything, which I don't think it'll hurt it. It'll actually support it, but I think it will be something that the Democrats can use later down the road, and that is related to Pam Bondi. I think he's trying to softly move away from Pam Bondi, and he's created this new AG so she doesn't feel left out. Okay. And so this new AG seems like he's the heavy lifter. I think he made a mistake with Pam Bondi. I think he should have kept Matt Gaetz. Matt Gaetz would have had the balls to get this done. I really do. Because, we like Matt Gaetz.
Well, he's only been on the ground for about 4 days, but border czar Tom Homan is already facing opposition to the illegal immigrant crackdown in Minnesota. Democratic Attorney General Keith Ellison is now denying claims that he told Homan that the state will allow county jails to cooperate with ICE. So let's bring in former acting ICE director Jonathan Fahey to get into it with us. Jonathan, I'm sure this caught your attention too. I heard it during his remarks this week that, he said that sheriff's departments may be able to work with federal authorities.
And we all heard that. He wasn't like, we agreed to this. This is set in stone. They're going to start releasing these people on XYZ's date. I think Tom Homan was respectable and told the information as it happened. You're not going to get a whole lot of fluff with Tom Homan. I think that's really why everybody likes him. You don't get a whole lot of fluff with him. And so everything he said so far is, exactly what he said.
And then Keith Ellison came out and said, that's not what I said. Should it end up be up to the sheriffs of each county?
Yeah. And I think there might be a little bit of a semantical game being played by Ellison here. And here's what I think makes sense. He's basically saying they're not going to honor ICE detainers, but if you on the side, Tom Homan and ICE, work out something with a sheriff where they agree to tell you maybe 2 days before somebody is about to get released so you could be there upon release date, then you could take them. So it could be, I'm hopeful it could be something like that. I am also fearful that we're back to where we were before, which is full-on opposition, obstruction of ICE by Waltz, by Ellison, and by Jacob Fry. And their rhetoric has been, I would argue equally as heated after Tom Homan went there. But I think the proof will be in the pudding. And really, if they are genuine about what their concerns are, meaning the Minnesota activists and politicians, that they just really want less ICE activity.
Which we all know is not the true facts of the case. They just want immigration enforcement to stop. And that's not going to happen. Not with this administration and not with this being one of the top campaign promises for the Trump administration.
On the streets, then this is the best way to do it, because remember, it's 1 or 2 people to take somebody from a jail, but if it's 10 to 15 people plus more time involved getting someone on the street. So if they're actually being authentic about their concerns, which I don't think they are, but that would solve their problem. But again, all of these issues, it always kind of comes back to the same thing with the Democratic politicians. Their solutions always seem to be stop enforcing immigration law and leave illegal aliens here, which is my concern that will continue. But we shall see. It does seem to be potentially on a better track right now.
So is Ellison, just trying to be a hard ass? Who knows? Who knows? And then we got this 2 seconds, and then I'm moving on.
Alex Preddy, and it is
Let it pass.
It's horrific to see yet another.
Why does it stop every time I go here? Hold on. Let me figure this out.
Tragedy in Minnesota so soon after Renee Good.
This should not be doing this. Hold on. Every time I move back to the main screen, it stops it. I don't like that. Shouldn't do that. Let me see if we can get it refreshed.
It is horrific to see.
It's going to keep pausing every time. So I'll have to stay on this side until we're done.
Yet another tragedy in Minnesota so soon after Renee Good. These reactions have been interesting to say the least, but there's something that almost nobody seems to be focusing on. Everybody keeps debating, was Alex in the wrong or was ICE in the wrong? But why aren't we talking more about Minnesota's sanctuary policies? Because those policies are why this enforcement ended up in the streets instead of being handled quietly and safely.
And I think that's the point that I have been trying to make when it comes to the enforcement we've been seeing going crazy, girls gone wild out in the streets, okay, or Antifa. I will be honest with you, I'm a little upset about the lack of enforcement of our laws with everything going on there. I as difficult as it would have been, I would have been dragging everybody off the street and putting them in handcuffs and just drowning the courts with a bunch of bullshit. If the courts weren't going to be willing to work with me, then I would be drowning the courts with a bunch of bullshit. People want to act, AFO, then that's where they're going to go, right? Let those federal judges make their history what it is, so we can go back in and later fire them for this very history. You know, there's going to be a flip side to all of this where accountability is going to come. These people tried to enact a coup. This coup has been going on since 2020. This has been an insurrection of our country. This is treasonous. People deserve to be in court for capital crimes. And our federal government keeps playing around with politicians because they're elected officials and they have a broad discretion. But when you are literally inciting an insurrection in your state, it gives our federal governments to go in there to arrest that mayor, to arrest the governor, and to arrest that AG. And Krasner over in Pennsylvania should be right behind him for his rhetoric as well. Because at the minute that Tim Walz, Mayor Jacob Fry, and A.G. Ellison conspired and consorted with one another to block it, you're talking about major felonies, conspiracy, and RICO. And that's on top of the crimes that they've committed for laundering money and the fraud. You want to know why Tim Walz is never running for office again? I don't know if he even knows if he's not going to be in prison. Because I think that man's going to be in prison. But we have, you know, Pam Bondi, and I know she's a laughing stock in this country. So anyways, that's our commentary on that. We're done with our political stuff. These were just breaking news updates that kind of spilled over from this morning's show. And now we're on the Sebastian Rogers case. Sebastian Rogers disappeared from his home on February 25th, 2024. He was 15 at the time of his disappearance. There are unusual circumstances related to this case. Was his stepfather home? Was his mother home? We don't know. We still to this day don't know definitively if he was alone with just Katie, if Christopher Proudfoot came back to the house later that evening or was there before anything happened. We really, truly don't know what happened on the night of February 25th, but we know whatever happened was not good. Everything that we've been seeing after plugging information into the AI program, it really is kind of supporting all of our theories that Chris and Katie are responsible for the disappearance of Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. Now, we were able to provide some, is this what I think it is? Ooh, it is. Okay. This was a situation where we were told very upfront, very, very soon upfront, almost unusually pointed that Chris was not home. It was almost as if they wanted to be adamant that Chris wasn't there, and they wanted to make sure everybody knew Chris was not there before anybody asked where Chris was. It was really weird. And I noticed that at the beginning of the case. And, you know, it always made, and I know for all of you, you guys have been wondering, was Chris really there? Was he not there? Right? I don't blessed know. I don't know whether he was there. I don't know whether he wasn't there. Phone, Google Voice. Let's see if we can get into our Google Voice. So I think I'm actually going to be setting up the Google Voice phone number right now, or the phone, because I think we're gonna need to ask some questions here. I really do. I think we're gonna need to ask some questions here. So I can go off the people that are in the chat below, or we can ask questions through the chat, or I'll open up the phone lines. Let me find my thumbnail that has the phone number on it. So just bear with me. But for right now, let me read what I've got so far, okay? Because I did add another 7 interviews in here. 6 of those were additional Seth interviews. One of those was the Nina interview, the one that Trev Time has removed or hidden from the world. I don't know why he chose to do that, but most of the people, you can always tell the people that are here for the money and the people that are not. CJ, Evil, whatever his name is not on my good side. I went to go find an interview that apparently he did, and of course it's behind a $4.99 paywall. We're trying to find a child here. If you go to my side, my stuff, the stuff that's in my members only was added there by force. People, I was being attacked by, most of the people know when they buy a membership that they're supporting the channel on a monthly basis, not because they get a benefit, not because they get videos on members only. It's been well established on this channel that there are a few things that I put in members only, but very, very little. The people that support our members only are supporting this channel on a monthly basis, not because they get really a whole lot of perks with it. They do get some perks, but not a whole lot, because we're not here to hide things from the world. We're here to help in these cases. And when I see people putting stuff behind paywalls, it upsets me. Now, when a case is closed and you're done with it and you want to put that playlist behind a paywall for other people that might be using it, I understand it. But when we have an active and ongoing case and you have a legitimate interview with somebody in the family that gave you that interview for free, it is so disrespectful to that family member or the person you're interviewing to put that behind a paywall. I find it appalling. I find it disgusting. And I find that your behavior shows you're not here for the sake of the victims. You're here for a profit. Now, you can be, okay? I'm a capitalist. So if you're here for a profit, I support that. Okay? I'm not going to dog you. I mean, I'm going to speak up about the case because I need an interview. You're more than welcome to make money however you see fit, but I'm also allowed to criticize you because of it. And that's what I'm going to use my platform to do. When you put important information behind a paywall like interviews, it pisses me off. You want to be out there searching and you want to put that behind a paywall, that's your business. But when you take legitimate interviews that you had received for free, that already gave you a lot of views and money, and then you want to extort more money at $4.99 a month to see that? EJ? CJ? Whatever your name is, you're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. And it's probably why your channel ain't growing worth a shit. And then now it's going to have to deal with people like Betty. When people start bringing in, I don't want to, he's not here for the right reasons. I don't want to listen to anything that man says. Don't want shit to do with him. I don't want shit to do with Terry Lynn because she does the same thing. Just saying. We don't do that over here. If you go over here, you can go and pull Seth's interview anytime you want to. We have an ongoing investigation with a child missing that's been missing almost 2 years. We do not hide stuff for profit. We do not force people to pay us to see something. I find it appalling and disgusting, and I'm going to call you out on it each and every freaking time. Each and every time, I'm going to call you out on it. So let me go ahead and put this up here. But do what you want. Just know that we watch. We see. We know. And I hope if anybody is a member or a subscriber of his channel, unsubscribe. That's what I do. When you find somebody that's here for the wrong reasons, you can't support their channel anymore. You shouldn't. But everybody can do whatever the hell they choose to do. So let's go ahead and start understanding. I put some more interviews in here. So what's new in the late March Seth set? He clarifies the flashlight video. TBI showed him the full frame, the daytime comparison. He now says it's a trash truck captured in the stamp. That we know is incorrect. They're saying it's now reflections. So whatever it is. Not two people with flashlights. They didn't believe it was two people with flashlights. So I still don't like the answers that they provided, but we'll rerun all of this stuff, okay? We'll rerun it at a later time, not right this moment. He confirms Proudfoot proof of life video. He confirms the proof of life video. TBI played surveillance of Sebastian and Katie leaving the Texas Roadhouse and getting into her vehicle on Sunday. Chris is not present and is in Memphis, allegedly. He updates the dog scent story after initially repeating that the handler told him about the trail into the construction site, and now he says TBI has told him the dogs did not pick up Sebastian's scent, and that his earlier understanding was false information. He described the search command logistics, Cajun Navy at 90 Volunteer Drive, then moved it to the Rudder on River Road as a long-term command post with set volunteer hours and ID waiver process. He reveals the organized harassment, reports vehicles following volunteers, license plates passed to TBI, and threats and attempted vehicular aggression against Cajun Navy and other searchers, which he says contributed to their withdrawal. He goes deeper on the CPS and discipline fallout, repeats that he first learned of CPS involvement in the belt use from the Proudfoot podcast appearance, stresses that his parenting agreement barred corporal punishment by Chris, and says had he known, he would have reported and pushed for full-time placement earlier. Thank you. Let Them 66, one of our prayer warriors, says, prayers for our complex. We have oh, good gracious, no heat and no hot water. It's now the boiler system broke down. It'll be 2 hours before they get here. Oh my goodness. It'll get down below zero tonight, and we're all worried on the pipes. Well, this is all I can tell you to do. This is what I was told by a lady that lives in Canada. She says, turn the water on and just let it drip. It doesn't need to be hot water or cold water. Just turn the water on. Let it little drip from all of your bathrooms. And they say that will help keep the pipes from freezing. Now, I don't live in, I'm from Florida, so I don't know if that's the truth or not. But we're definitely going to pray for you. But, I would probably, some people are saying some stuff, prayers for you. Call, you do why heater and terracotta pot and cooking oil. Can you do? Oh, they're saying that you can, if you have a terracotta pot and some cooking oil, you might be able to use it as a do-it-yourself heater. Oh, I never knew that. That's a good idea. That's a good suggestion. That's a good suggestion. Thank you for that. Thank you for that, Carrier. Or Carrie. Yeah, Carrier. Carrie. I read that wrong. Thank you, Miles, for subscribing. Sorry, you're going to have to wait 2 days to speak because we're talking on the Sebastian Rogers case, and we do not like trolls. So we're forcing the trolls away. We're doing the troll spray. So sorry about that, but welcome aboard. You might not be able to talk for a couple days, but we do hope you enjoy the show. So he reveals the organized harassment. Then he finds out about this CPS report, which their parenting agreement barred them from spanking or hitting Sebastian. Do you guys understand that? You cannot tell me Chris and Katie did not know that what they were doing was a violation of their parenting order because they worked on it together. So, that's a problem for me. So consistency versus change cross Seth's 13 interviews. Stable elements across earlier interviews and late interviews. Timelines from his perspective. He works overnights, off at 7, sees missed text call about 7:20 in his car. He arrives at the house around 8 o'clock. Last spoke to Sebastian on the Thursday before he disappeared. He knows that Sebastian was at school on Friday and relies on Katie's word and later restaurant footage for Sunday as proof of life. Sebastian's profile, autistic but bright, routine-driven, hates going barefoot after fire ants incidents, loves video games, specific foods, and their rituals together, okay? So this is interesting. So walk-off skepticism repeatedly says it doesn't make sense that Sebastian would break routine, leave barefoot without his phone, and not contact him or his godparents. Ellie's posture continues to praise the scale of initial search. He notes he's not on the investigative agency, so they don't share details, calls and texts TBI frequently, and accepts polygraph if requested. Now, where Seth's story evolves. So dogs, earlier, the lab and Pascal Collins. Handlers told me they hit and ended at the construction site. Maybe he got in a car. Late March, TBI tells me that the dogs did not catch his scent. Earlier information repeated was wrong. Flashlights is another area of contention. Earlier reliance on Nick Barris's cropped clip and public LE language, 2 people with flashlights. Late March, after TBI viewing, he corrects it to a trash truck and calls the cropped release clickbait. Which I don't know if I agree with that, but we will still, express how frustrated Seth was. Him and Nick Barris never got over this aspect of the case. Theory of where Sebastian is. Earlier interviews center on a local walk-off abduction possibility. Later ones add specific alternatives, held somewhere playing games without news access, in a homeless encampment, or moved well beyond the 5-mile search grid, but always framed as speculation. Compared to Chris and Katie's timeline, compression and changed the thud story, Seth's adjustment are mostly, here's what I was told at first, and here's what TBI showed clarified later. He's not making substantive changes to conceal. New contrast points with the prior 17 Proudfoot and Seth interviews. So this is pretty interesting if you guys are interested in it. I find this whole report just crazily interesting. Okay, I wish I could put this up, but I can't. So 3, the new contrast points with the prior 17 Proudfoot Seth interviews. 1, evidence and handling of media narrative. Proudfoot said they leaned hard on the 2 flashlights at 3:10 a.m. behind the house clip and barefoot wander theory. Never publicly walked that back after Seth's TBI debrief. Seth now explicitly debunks the flashlight narrative as trash trucks on a bad timestamp and pushes back at creators who continue to use it and imply an abduction footage, as an abduction footage. But in all fairness, it was shortly after this that Sebastian was provided a Amber Alert, which at some point somebody had to have thought at minimum he was abducted. So Ellie vetted visual, Texas Roadhouse exit, full frame trash truck video per Seth's description. We know that Seth was told to tell people it was this trash truck. And again, it makes you wonder why law enforcement is asking a parent to change the narrative of a video, which is, again, what makes me skeptical that this is, some random lights, is because they've changed what these lights were multiple times in the course of this investigation directly from law enforcement. And so it makes it very difficult. I'm having a hard time removing the footage as well from the theories, but I don't think it changes a whole lot of fact. It may change when Sebastian was removed from the home, because, again, we have to remember the only person that left that home from the time they walked into it to the time he was reported missing was Katie Proudfoot. And she was observed in her car leaving that neighborhood that morning. Now, granted, she says that she was out looking for her son, but it took her 3 weeks to tell us that. And it took her 3 weeks to tell us that after she was found to have left the neighborhood. So it's just really, skeptical why it's like you got to pull teeth to find out what truly happened that morning, because what happened that morning doesn't make sense. Most parents, if you wake up and your autistic child is not in your home, you immediately call 911 frantic. You don't call your husband. You don't stay on the phone for 30 minutes. You don't call the father first and then call law enforcement. You call law enforcement and then you reach out to the father to let them know what's going on. So everything that this morning had was wrong. And it makes you wonder why. And then on top of that, you find out that Katie got in her car and left the house after being told multiple times, at least 4 to 5 different interviews, that she woke up around 6 a.m., She went into his room. He wasn't there. She looked around the house. He wasn't there. She called her husband within a few minutes. He said, look here, look here. She did. He wasn't there. And he immediately called law enforcement. We heard that for the first 3 weeks of this case. And then all of a sudden, in mid-March, we learned that she left the house driving like a NASCAR driver, and then casually coming back and driving up and down the roads like she's looking for her son, yet she's not even yelling out the window. And her other comment was that she had to have Chris call the non-emergency number because she was too hysterical. The crazy thing is Chris with the mob crew got multiple angles of her driving around that community literally seconds before that call came in. And the one most noticeable thing about the whole thing is she doesn't look frantic. She doesn't look, distraught. She looks normal. So why didn't she call law enforcement? Because she clearly wasn't hysterical. Because if she was hysterical when she turned like this, you should see the red eyes. We have her full face. The window's up, even though she professed that she was driving around screaming out her window. I don't know how he was supposed to hear her with her window up. The window was not down. The window was not down, and she did not look hysterical. Those were the two most notable things. And these were literally seconds before the call went into the non-emergency dispatch line. So according to her, and according to the timeline, when she was observed on that car, that was when she was on three-way with Chris calling the sheriff's office. Yet she had to mute herself because she was so hysterical. But when we go over and look at the videos that Chris from the mob crew puts out, she looks perfectly fine. She doesn't even look like she's looking for him. It looks like she's just doing what she got to do to play the part. So this is where the case file, this splits into LE vetted visuals, the Texas Roadhouse exit per Seth's description, and media-driven visuals, which is the cropped flashlight, the reused out of investigative context, or, it's not providing the full picture of that night. So then we go to B, which is the CPS and disciplinary story versus discovery. And what we have under B is earlier, Chris admits to using a belt in CPS, but minimizes it. Katie and Chris never told Seth directly. His first awareness of this abuse was via Smiley Stories World, a content creator on YouTube. Newer Seth clips, he strongly reframes this as a systematic failure. The state dropped the ball by not notifying the biological father with joint legal physical custody, and stresses their decree barred corporal punishment. So they had a parental agreement that barred corporal punishment by the stepfather. Yet we're finding out the stepfather was whipping on the stepson in direct violation of that agreement. That deepened the who knew what when gap between the household and highlights another area where Proudfoot narratives have shifted, while Seth's position is, I was kept in the dark. And he was. Now we're going to move down to C, which is the search effort and optics. March 11th, the lab, Fox News, and News 2, Seth is mostly a lone search dad. Nobody's helping him search. He's appreciative of any help and neutral about media drama. Late March suited... Sorry. Oops. Where was I? Okay, there I am. Late March, he is front-facing with organization searches like Cajun Navy, Then the Rudder Command Post gives concrete times, places, and publicly begs for volunteers, saying, I'm asking the world to please help me find my son. He openly criticizes online drama for depressing turnout and notes that only a few volunteers come on certain days, which is sad. Against the earlier 10 Proudfoot interviews where they frequently emphasize cooperation but rarely seen leading grid searches or building public command structures, this widens the already stark contrast in the visual, practical search leadership. 4, net patterns across all 24 interviews, which I think you guys are going to be very interested in if you guys are interested in the Sebastian Rogers case. If you're just coming in, please don't forget to hit the thumbs up button and let me know where you're from, and let me know the temperature in your area. Many of us are freezing where we're at. So long story short, we plugged in 24 interviews into an AI program. We didn't add any more criteria. We're not adding any personal opinions or perspectives, only their interview word by word transcripts. That's all I'm uploading in here is transcripts. And I'm asking AI to provide me information based on all these transcripts. So far we have 24 transcripts uploaded into the system, and they're broke down by 10 of those interviews being Chris and Katie's interviews, and 13 of those interviews being Seth interviews, and one of those interviews being Nina's interviews. I'm going in chronological order. There are 2 in this outfit that I should have uploaded today, but I had to do something different. And it was an interview JLR had with Seth very early on, and then it was another interview from Fox 17 with Caitlin when she was only putting them up on Facebook. Well, Facebook doesn't provide transcripts, so I've had to put those on my account and put those, so you guys can't see them and stuff because there's somebody else's work, but just to be able to generate that transcript. Well, sometimes it takes up to 24 hours to get this transcript, this drafted transcript. So I wasn't able to plug in 2 of those interviews into the system. So I'm hoping tomorrow I'll be able to do it. So we'll see. But if you have been following this case, this is where the rubber meets the road. You're going to want to pay attention to this, okay? So these are all the first interviews taking us to the beginning part from March 3rd, taking us to the beginning part of February, the beginning week of February. I think we're down to February 4th or something like that is one of our last interviews that we uploaded into the system. So we're getting there. We're just not completely there yet. And as I enter these into the system, I'm asking very specific questions. How does this differ from the stuff that you've already previously reviewed? Things like that. So here's the number 4, the net patterns across all 24 interviews. If you zoom out over everything you've uploaded, core factual backbone remains aligned. Thursday call, Friday school, Sunday dinner and bowling, Monday morning missing, no forced entry, shoes at the door, phone left behind, keychain flashlight gone. Seth's record keeps the same backbone, admits uncomfortable facts, CPS, belt incident, his own initial misconceptions about the dog and the flashlights, and updates when TBI corrects him. Becomes more assertive about search organizations, harassment, his anger at being uninformed about prior CPS involvement. The Proudfoot's record across their 10 is more frequent timeline tightening and narrative refinement, which is a red flag. A search window is shrinking, added thud, are you okay exchange involving belt and CPS framing, RV trip explanations, less evolution driven by new LE briefing, more by public perception pressure. For the purposes these new 7 Seth files mostly give you LE clarified corrections, flashlight and dog scent, harder edges on the CPS and discipline conflict, stronger documentation of Seth's search leadership versus Proudfoot's relative absence from organized boots on the ground efforts. And then it says, if you want, I can extend this to a 2-tab down. And I'm going to probably say yes, do the 2-tab down. Okay, copy. Let me say yes. Please do the Control V. And see what that produces. But while it's preparing that, let's go ahead. It's going to probably pop me up. And it did pop me up. Okay, so now that we're there, let me go back to where we were here, because I asked it very specific questions. So that's working on that. And then I said, you didn't address the Nina interview, which has many bombshells about Chris Proudfoot directly. Does that change anything for you? ? So that is the best question I could ask, because we didn't really, even in all that debriefing, we really didn't hear anything about Nina or the interview that I uploaded Nina. So this is what it says. It said Nina Gomez's interviews delivers explosive firsthand allegations against Chris Proudfoot, detailing extreme violence toward her children, 3 and 7, corrosive custody tactics, and hospital threats that mirror patterns in his prior 17 interviews and Seth's set. Yes, it changes the analysis by providing the strongest independent corroboration yet of Chris's volatile temper and authoritarian child handling, turning what was previously inferred pattern into a documented repeat offender profile. Wow. Wow, folks. Wow. So here's Nina's core bombshell. Hey, we got that. Yeah, exactly. Carrie, Whispering Winds. These things are really helping, identify things, right? So Nina's core bombshells: violence toward toddlers and infants. Hard spanked her 3-year-old son Noah, telling Nina he needs to man up. He's a man. It even put in parentheses, echoes Elijah Vu's case language. Slammed newborn face car seat against the wall, then tossed it on a coffee table when she cried. Nina called it throwing. Interesting. Violence toward older children. Backhanded her 7-year-old daughter Isabella with braces in the face, busting her lip open for pulling away during nail trimming because he hurt her. And he got mad because she was hurt. Hospital rage. Yelled at Nina post C-section. Nurse threatened social services and banned him. He returned but was monitored. Custody ambush planned with family. Kathy, Big D, and Terry to lure her to Hendersonville, serve protective orders, then seize Faith. Terry threatened to bash her and the kid's head in with a baseball bat when she demanded her baby back. Proudfoot family enablers. Neighbors warned her of the plot. Whole family, Kathy, Terry, uncles, filmed, live streamed custody exchange, lied about Chris's location, followed her at 80-90 miles per hour on the interstate. Control tactics. Gave away her furniture, beds while separated. Unwanted pregnancy, get an abortion. Racist undertone. Hated Faith for beating a Native American Mexican. Previously, Chris's red flags were admitted belt on Sebastian, minimized as one time. CPS call out per Seth. Overbearing interviews, man up vibes inferred. Nina locks in the pattern. Serial physical abuse of step non-bio kids, toddlers to teens. Explosive angers at crying and challenges. So when child are challenging or crying, he explodes. Family enabled power plays. History of rapid marriages. She was wife number 4. This isn't isolated. It directly parallels Sebastian's reported CPS belt incident and Seth's "he wouldn't tell me what happened there" reluctance. So now we go to this I don't know if I really want to go over this. I think I need to look at this. It's a chart. It says discipline, belt once, CPS called, kid lied at school, hard spank, man up, degree, their parenting agreement barred corporal punishment, temper, Chris, temper, overspeaks Katie, defensive, hospital bans, bat threat, interstate pursuit, Proudfoot's absent from searches, he's a grown-ass man. I know, exactly. Whispering Wind says, what's your thought on the cell phone Silver found while searching with the name Terry on it? Well, Terry's a common name. I think everybody has a Terry in their phone. I don't know if you do or not, but, I'm not, until somebody can break it open, it's insignificant for me because, Terry's such a common name and we can acknowledge Terry's a common name. It was where he found it was a significant ways away from their home. And the reason why I know it is because I was with Silvers and he showed me where he had found it. Actually, I think I might have, no, I don't think we were with him when we found it. I think he found it before we were with him. I think he found it a couple of weeks before we were with him. I can't remember how that all went. Yeah, I'm not going to read this whole chart here. Let's just get down to more pressing issues here. So impact on overall case comparison. It amplifies Proudfoot credibility gap. So Katie and Chris timeline tweaks. Thud detail 911 rationale now sits against Nina's unfiltered abuse history. Her story predates Sebastian by years, making their one-time belts sound like a continuation. Ooh, I never thought about that. Because of this abuse that Nina has described for herself and her children, this is interesting. So, amplifies Proudfoot credibility gap. That's interesting. Boosts Seth's consistency. His shock at CPS, joint custody father, uninformed, gains traction. Nina shows Proudfoot weaponize the CPS and system against exes. Ooh, forgot about that too. And that is a true statement. That is absolutely a true statement. I love AI. These are the reasons why I love AI right here. This is why I love AI. Bed furniture motif. See, Nina's neighbors saw Chris discarding hers. Your garage bed footage now looks like a repeat control tactic. Maybe the bed's in there because Chris threw the bed out. Maybe Sebastian was on the floor. I don't know. Maybe he wasn't in bed at all. Maybe they installed the bed that night. Seth's volunteers harassed. Nina chased 90 miles an hour by family. Potential Proudfoot MO when losing control. Man up on a 3-year-old. Direct Elijah Vu parallel. If Sebastian challenged Chris, autistic meltdown, teen pushback, escalation of fits. So the custody war parallels lured her to Tennessee, seized baby with protection order, family muscle, mirrors Seth's worry Sebastian was due for summer full custody shifts. This is all happening. Think about how he was acting. I didn't even think about that. This is starting to make a little more sense, though. It seems like that the Proudfoots have a fit when people are trying to get custody. This is interesting because Chris started muscling in when there was fights over Faith, and now Seth is saying that Sebastian was supposed to come to him over the summer in just a few months, and then boom, all of a sudden, Sebastian's gone. Never even looked at that angle in this story. At least I don't remember. That's interesting. And again, why I like AI. Bottom line, Nina doesn't contradict your 24 prior transcripts. It supercharges the Chris as the abuser hypothesis with specifics that scream pattern. For Bullhorn Betty scripting, this is dynamite. They're telling me to use the word dynamite. I wish I would have known that. Maybe I ought to put dynamite on my thumbnail. Maybe I ought to put dynamite on the first person victim testimony tying Proudfoot family dynamic directly to Sebastian's home pairs brutally with Seth's he hated going back there and the unchanged walkaway implausibility. Interesting. And so I wrote here, I said, do we find it weird that they are adamant Chris Proudfoot wasn't home immediately and stressed that up front? Is that because Chris knows what Katie did, or he was actually home and did it himself? That was the question I put in here. And I know many of you guys are going to be asking yourself the same damn question, right? Throw your hands up if you thought that was a good question. Hey, Dixie, it's nice to see you. It's nice to see you. If you're wondering it, put a 1 in the chat or raise your hand. It's very easy. You got a hand emoji. So, yes, so you would think there would be enough evidence for an arrest on suspicion of child. That's what I've said that from the very beginning. I've said that from the very beginning, that they should be able to arrest them. They have probable cause on this abuse. That's why we think Sumner County is so corrupt. But listen, they had this kind of evidence against Candace Wells and Don Wells, and they refused to charge them because their child abuse cases in Tennessee are garbage. Tennessee does not protect their children, folks. Okay? I don't care who you are. They're not protecting their children. They're not. And children are being hurt. I mean, you can R a 4-year-old and get DP, but not a 5-year-old. What is wrong with that? Have you lost your... It's disgusting. I don't want to hear, until people in Tennessee, I don't want to hear you guys saying you're the Bible Belt and Christian folk, because Christian folk have strong laws. And y'all have no laws. Okay? Y'all have no laws. So yes, the Proudfoot adamant upfront insistence that Chris was not home Sunday night, Texas Roadhouse, dinner, bowling, and stayed in Memphis for work through Monday morning stands out as overly emphatic and oddly preemptive across their interviews. It raises flags when paired with Nina's abuse history and their custody playbook. But TBI footage of Katie and Sebastian alone at the restaurant, no Chris, partially verifies the alibi, leaving room for manipulation rather than outright fabrication. Interesting, and I agree with that. While it feels weird, proactive denial, in earlier interviews, they volunteered Chris's absence before timeline questions arise. Chris was in Memphis for work. He got back later, stressed repeatedly despite no one accusing him yet. Katie says she checked Sebastian at 10:30 p.m. alone. No mention of Chris until pressed. So then we come and go to the 911 call timing. Katie called non-emergency SEO line, and that's not even accurate either because it was Chris, and the 6:20 a.m. was Seth, not her calling the non-emergency 911. So they say claiming city limits, faster dispatch. Neighbors debunk. SEO automatically transfers emergencies to 911. 911 traces the location instantly. Why not direct 911 if truly panicked? I think that is a legitimate question to ask. Now, post-disappearance travel. The whole RV south, 3 days work, then Katie, Seth, TBI meeting where Seth sees Sunday footage confirming Chris in Memphis. They return sporadically but skip Seth's organized search. Contrast with Seth is Seth was casually confirms footage. No Chris, he was Memphis. without defensiveness, focused on proof of life. So now here is another chart that they've got, and it has scenario, evidence fit, probability based on transcript, and red flag raised. Now this is going to be interesting if you have been following the case of Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. And again, guys, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Bullhorn Betty channel. Please don't forget to clip and share some of this information around related to Sebastian Rogers. As you guys can see, he's losing a lot of interest in his case, and it's very, very sad because we've got an event coming up in February. We've already got to confirm 30 to 40 people showing up at the event. We would like to make it 100 people. We need 60 more people to commit to showing up on February 26th. So if you guys could please help out, please let me know you're coming. You can send that to bullhornbetty@gmail.com. I'd greatly appreciate it. If you've already told me you're coming, you don't need to send that again. Anyway, so the scenario is, number one, Chris absent, Katie acted alone, e.g. accident, staged walkout. So they're even putting in here staged walkout. Nobody believes that this child, not even AI, walked out on his own. So I think we can pretty much put that in the trash can. TBI footage verifies there was no Chris at the Texas Roadhouse exit. Only Katie and Sebastian. High direct visible proof. So this is based on transcripts. And the red flags raised is why Ofer emphasized. Covers Katie's solo actions. And then it says med questions, frustration question mark. Nina shows Chris volatility and Katie enabling. So those are the red flags that are exhibited on this particular chart for that one. Now, number two is Chris knows what Katie did. Cover for her post-return. So this is what we're asking, and he says he returns post 911, helps 911 narrative, family enabler per Nina, lies about locations. This is a medium high, and it is related to Nina's custody that Chris's NCA went home, and the red flag is preemptive alibi plants doubts preemptively. RV exit dodges scrutiny. It's not putting these in a whole lot of words, but that was two. And then it says three, Chris Holmes secretly / did it. So that was another question we had asked was, is this a way for Chris to sneak in, do what he needed to do and go back home? And then there's no counter evidence in the files. They stress absence unprompted. This is a medium. What is this word up here? Hold on. Let me look at this. Burn it. Probability. So this is a medium probability. Feasible if alibi coordinates with the phone ping. And this is the riskiest. Contradicts TBI's footage. Nina always angry. Pattern fits directly. Confrontations. Sebastian meltdown, and this is the least supported. So they're saying that they don't believe Chris secretly came home to harm Sebastian, according to AI. It's saying least supported. It doesn't have anything to support that statement. So innocent absence, work travel routine. This has low urgency, feels scripted versus natural recall. So it sounds like it was scripted. Doesn't fit the non-911 call or the family pursuit patterns. So I think that's interesting. It didn't make a whole lot of sense to me, I'll be honest with you. So what we have next is one or two. It's most likely one or two. The emphasis preempts scrutiny on Katie, sole adult in the home, but Nina elevates it. Chris's history, tossing infant carrier, man up on a 3-year-old, makes him volatile actor. Family ties habitually, e.g. Nina's custody, Chris and CA while present. If Chris knows, it's a cover. If absent, Katie's solo window post Roadhouse to 9:30 is key. Unverified drive home. So it's identifying this unverified. They're calling this drive home unverified. Unverified drive home and no inside restaurant cam. We've since seen the inside restaurant cam. We just haven't plugged it into the system yet. So, why lead with Chris wasn't here unless hiding her solo time? So we need to kind of identify identify why they were so adamant about Chris not being there. You know what I think it is? This is just my opinion. Take it for what you will. I believe he did that because he knows that Sebastian was deceased and he wanted to make sure, because Katie did it and he's probably helping her cover it up. And he's like, yeah, I don't know nothing, but you ain't dragging me into this shit. You know, something like that. That's what I kind of feel like happened. And I think he's like, you better let these people know I was not here. I had nothing to do with this. I was in blah, 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 blah. Right. Okay. That's kind of what I think happened. And that's why she was so adamant to point out that he wasn't there. But I do believe with his history and his family's history that they would have never allowed her not to have some type of protection. So yes, I believe the entire family is involved for a variety of reasons. So the first scenario is Chris absent, Katie acted alone, it repeated the same thing. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so here's evolving statements. So bedtime sound. Post Roadhouse, Sebastian playing in his room told him to go to bed around 9. No noise mentioned. This is the earlier version. The later version of this is that, hold on, let me go down. It's not letting me move over. You know what? Let me just download this. Hold on a second. It'll just make it easier for me to read it. Text. Okay, there we go. Good gracious, come on. Okay, there we go. So the claim, bedtime sound, post Roadhouse, playing in his room, 9 p.m. The later version was Katie heard a noise from the room. Check told him to go to bed. Seth's accounts, there are none. Date, these are earlier interviews. Then we got the moving search duration. Katie searched 3 minutes before calling. Looked for Sebastian 1 minute flat, and that was in the later version. So we had an earlier version, 3 minutes, a later version, 1 minute, and those were observed in several different interviews. Let me see if there's any. That's it. Okay. And then we had the CPS belt. This is earlier. This is on Grace. Nancy Grace is denied and downplayed. And then later, we're learning that never informed bio dad in joint custody, and he was barred from using corporal punishment on Sebastian. 911 rationale, county, not city limits, faster, avoids transfer, no major shift, but neighbors debunk that account. And of course, that was observed in several interviews. The Texas Roadhouse footage, clothes, the same outfit in video games to LE. He was usually laughing and happy. Seth views Sebastian, Katie left alone. Note, no Chris, and kind of supports his alibi. And then Memphis alibi, works in Memphis Sunday night, Monday returns later. Consistent, but RV trip post disappearance for work is questionable. Confirms via TBI footage Chris was in Memphis. So, we do have some information there, and then just a few other things. Hold on, let me see. Don't say. We don't want to save that. And then is there anything else? So I think that really does everything that I want to talk about. Does anybody, if you want to type it into the chat, do you guys have any questions that I can ask AI? Or should I just open up the phone and see, do I have my call-in number on here? No. All right, I think I got that. Okay. So I've got the call in. Hold on, let me see what we got here. I'm sorry, I was trying to fix something in case we had to open up the phones. Yes, phones. Me and you says yes, phones. Okay. Bower Sox did it for themselves too. They put a lot of money into lawyers and private investigators. Strongman tormented Nina, who sliced tires on her vehicle. Yeah, it's funny how other people's cars were damaged too during this search. He refused to give Nancy his vehicle description. Yeah, I remember that. Me and you, all of this knowing CPS family, funeral home, hates to say it, cremation. Yeah, people had talked about that from the very beginning. I don't know if FBI is doing anything. Can someone give me a time to be there on the 26th? 4 of us from Ohio are coming Wednesday evening. I'll be out there about 9 or 9:30. It's going to be a little colder, so make sure you guys wear warmer clothes and stuff like that. So I'll be out there around 9. I'll probably be setting up around 8 or 8:30, and then I'll be kicking off my live, and then I will start at the top of 9 a.m., and I'll be using my bullhorn for 5 minutes at the top of every hour, just for a few minutes to directly speak to the people in charge of this investigation. So that's what the plans are. Katie used anti-anxiety meds and a few drinks to put her badass game face on to take on Nancy Grace. I believe that. We didn't know she was on medication because she kept telling everybody she's not on medication. Well, come to find out, she truly is on medication. And, let me get this off here. That's a video. I don't want to put that video on. Let's have my... Good gracious. Oh, it doesn't have my number. Okay, well, all right, so let's fix that. I got my number here, tipping calling. Where's the flip is my phone number? I could have sworn I had the call-in show. There it is. There it is. Okay, so here's my call-in show. Let me move this up here. This might work out a little better. Okay, that's that. We have... Oh, good gracious. Okay, give me just a second, folks. Okay, let's change this one down here. Let's delete that one. Sorry, guys, I gotta set up some things. It's not set up right. Okay, there we go. All right, I got it. There we go. All right, guys, there is the show, but until we've got the phones on, let me take this off. We have the phone on, the show right up there at the top, 724-252-8070 is our phone number here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Let me make sure I got all these things set up. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. That looks good. That looks good. That looks good. Okay. So I can hear everything in my ears. So it sounds like, and you guys are blocked off, so you can't see you guys calling it. Perfect. So we got everything set up like we're supposed to have it set up, I think. We got tipping, we got call-in, we've got our chat. We got our chat box, our gift box, okay, so we've got it all. Okay. Okay. All right, we got it. All right, guys, we got it all set up. It's all set up. Yay. Yay. All right, guys, so if you guys would like to call in, you may. But until then, let's see, analyze the, no, we don't, CPS call out viewpoints of Seth versus Proudfoot's. We need to find, questions to ask. So let me go back to my, while you guys wait to call in, I'm going to go back to this and see if we can find any questions to plug in. And refuse the work van. Yeah, we know that. Betty, could you please read Veronica's comments? Let's see. Let's go up to Veronica. Give me a minute. I would like to add in the call from his boss, supposed boss, to see what he thinks. Well, you're going to have to send that to me. I'll send it in as long as it's confirmed, his boss. I'll add it to it, but I can't put, if I put things that we don't know to be true into the system, it could alter the stuff coming out of the system. I mean, I'm putting a lot of information in here. So I want to make sure whatever I plug in is factual information, not hyperbole, not fake, whatever. Why would CPS call instead of, okay, that's a good question. Why would Chris call the non-emergency number instead of Katie? Don't be shy, call in. Yeah, well, we'll let people wanted to turn on the phones. We got the phones turned on, but people are asking questions in the chat, so I'll pull the questions from the chat. So it says, Chris claimed the non-emergency SE loan line was faster for their county location outside the city limits, avoiding 911 transfer. A local neighbor directly debunked this in Nina Gomez's interview transcript, stating SEO automated system explicitly stresses callers to hang up and dial 911 for emergencies, or it transfers anyways, exactly what Chris said he wanted to avoid. So let's ask it this question. Katie was in the area, and if she called 911, she wouldn't need to be rerouted. Hold on, let's see. No, Katie called 911 from beach area, would route directly to Sumner County Emergency and primary PSAP handling of 911 calls. No rerouting needed. Dispatch facts. Sumner County, including Henderson Beach, uses a consolidated SCEC for 911 emergency, police, fire, and EMS dispatch. Non-emergency, which is 615-451-3838. 911 auto locates via cell, landline, and dispatches SCSO without transfer. What if he didn't want to be auto located, and that's why he called the non-emergency dispatch line? Because 911, it says auto locates and dispatches SESO without transfer. Non-emergency is a slower administrative process. So interesting. So it says routing. So 911, if Katie had called, she would have went right to dispatch. He got rerouted, even calling the non-emergency dispatch line. It's a 5 to 8 minute response time, and Chris claimed no transfer, but debunked by CPS automated message. So they did route him. I think that he tried to call the non-emergency dispatch line, and they rerouted him over to that's what I think we're going to find out, because law enforcement will not provide any talking points on that. So I don't know. Let me go back up here. There was some more information. So it says Chris absent. Okay, we got those 4. We got that. Okay. And it says the call process. Assume rural sticks lack 911. Major Nashville suburbs full 911 coverage for anywhere in Tennessee. Untrue. Excuses delay while staging a narrative. So it sounds like what they were trying to do is just trying to stage a narrative. Possible motives. Control narrative. Chris directs calls A line story with Katie before LE records it. Fits ex-wife's account of family scripting. So we already know he's done this before, maybe not to this degree, but we know he's done this before. Avoid immediate response. 911 prioritizes urgency. Non-emergency allows slower rollout. That explains it, folks. That explains the non-emergency. I'm now getting it. And it fits what we've been saying all along. I don't know why it didn't snap before, but it's starting to snap now. So it's slower. Why did he call the non-emergency? Because he didn't want it to sound like an emergency, folks. This fits in with my theory that they wanted to be handed a piece of paper and say, if he returns, please give us a call back. That's why. They wanted to call, they wanted to say the boy ran away on his own, and they wanted to get a little piece of paper that said, call us when you find him, basically. Law enforcement not doing anything. That would support why they called the non-emergency line, because they were acting as if this was not an emergency. They didn't want the huge, cavalry coming. That's why it shocked Chris when he pulled up and saw everything, and he started going out there, and just the anger and rage overcame him, and he started going out there and telling people to take their cameras off his house. That wasn't normal. That was a stress response. That was an absolute stress response. They didn't want the audience. Bingo, Carrie. And that's why he called the that fits with the theory that they did not want to make this big. They wanted to keep it very, very hush-hush. They wanted to make this a non-emergency. He ran off. He walked out the front door. That's what they kept repeating over and over and over again. And when we asked why they kept saying that, they're like, well, he only had 2 doors he could have went out, and the other one was too noisy. He would have never went out that one. Well, you just said it triggered across the street if somebody opens that door. So did it trigger across the street? Well, no. But how do you know somebody didn't come in and kidnap him? Well, if somebody came in through the front door, well, the camera across the street would have triggered. Well, wouldn't it have triggered if somebody walked out the door, just like it triggers when somebody walks in the door? That's common sense. So he had already explained there's no possibility of Sebastian walking out that door because no video was triggered. And how could Sebastian avoid literally all those cameras? He couldn't. It's impossible. It's impossible. And as his own father's account, what does he say? What does his father say? He would have never left the home without his shoes. And he left without everything? In all black? How convenient. How convenient. So, to avoid immediate response, 911, let's replace this again. So you guys all understand what we're seeing here. And this fits perfectly with what we think happened, why they did what they did. But it's because 911 prioritizes urgency. And using this non-emergency allowed a slower rollout. Preserving the scene, no shoes, glasses, stage. Neighbor's note, trace calls to house if hysterical. So, Chris and Katie, and we see Katie moments before that, and she's not, people that are hysterical look hysterical. How many people have ever observed somebody lose their shit? If you've watched somebody lose their shit, put a 1 in the chat. If you have not seen anybody ever just go over the deep end, put a 2 in the chat. Some people may have, some people may not have. But I need to ask a very important question. We're going to do 3s and 4s next. So I need to find out. So thank you, Pebbles. You have? Okay. Betty H has. We got Grave Crime. Lisa B. Always. Thank you, Lisa. Me and you. Melanie. Okay, B. Betty. Well, bless you. I'm glad you have it. It's not pretty. Not pretty. Okay. The next thing I'm going to ask all my 1s. This doesn't apply to you 2s. Okay. This only applies to the 1s. Okay, so we're going to do 3 and 4. Let me ask my question. Out of the ones that solve somebody hysterical or lose their shit, was it physically obvious? Could you see it with your own eyes that they were hysterical? 3, yes. 4, no. Only the people that have seen somebody hysterical. Okay? If you've seen somebody hysterical, you can answer the next question. Was it visibly obvious that they were hysterical? 3, yes. 4, no. I think we all have a little bit, if anybody's honest. I don't feel like being honest today, so I'll tell you I'm doing good. Okay. So this is the point I'm trying to make. If she was hysterical and could not speak, it should have been observed on those still images that Chris with the mob crew has. And it was so noticeable that she did not appear hysterical. So if she didn't appear hysterical, which, 99.9% of the people that have seen somebody hysterical has said that their hysteria is physically apparent. Okay, that means you can look at them and see something ain't right. Okay, we didn't have that with Katie. And this is super, super important because this is her excuse for why she didn't call 911. And so now we have evidence that supports she was not hysterical. We have evidence, physical evidence, that supports she was not screaming Sebastian's name. This is Betty. Who's this and where are you calling from?
I'm from Ohio.
Well, hello from Ohio.
Hi.
What is your question and what do you think happened?
Well, I think what happened was I'm from Ohio.
You might want to turn me down in your background. It's going to start. Okay.
I got you. I think what happened is, I know everybody's saying it's not, but from Texas Roadhouse, I think she was handed some medication for him, and she gave it to him at night, and that's what the thud was from. And I think she took him out in the morning and passed him off.
And quite frankly, that's not that shocking. And it's not that shocking that you think that, because I know for a fact there are a lot of people that believe that very specific scenario. So I know that scenario exists. I don't know what happened. It is a scenario that I could absolutely adopt because it does make sense. I mean, if you look at all the stuff, even the verifiable, unverified stuff, such as, Chris's mom or her vehicle at minimum being near the house at an unusually early time in the morning, and then Katie going in that very specific direction in the morning. I can believe that. I wasn't once upon a time really into where I thought Katie would have moved Sebastian that morning. But now that more information is developing, to be honest with you, it seems if we have to remove the flashlight video as it not being anything, then the only time anybody left that house is Katie.
Exactly.
Exactly. So.
And the sad part is, there's a lot of people that follow this channel, follow multiple channels about Sebastian, and we're more brokenhearted about his disappearance than most of his family is.
Bingo.
I am going to be there on the 26th to support anybody and everybody that shows up.
Aww.
I don't care if it's Chris and Katie. If they show up, I'll support them.
Yeah.
But I'm there to find answers. I am brokenhearted about this boy's disappearance. I don't know if you were involved in the Gannon South.
I was. We watched the trial. We covered some portion of the case. I didn't physically go out there, and that was it was a pretty shocking case, to say the least.
And this is where I feel Sebastian's going to go. And when I say that, and I don't mean it to be any disrespect for Seth, but I just want him to be. I want him to be prepared, and I want everybody that's hearted into this to be prepared, because I'm not prepared for it. Like I wasn't prepared for Gannon, but this is something that I want him to be alive. I'm from Ohio, where the 4 girls that were that were found 10 years later that were in this home. I want that to be Sebastian's case. I feel that in my heart that he's still alive. He may be in somebody's house, and but he's going to need a lot of help, and I want to be there to support him.
Yeah. I love your optimism, and I hope that is true. But, you know, I've got to advise, because just like you explain, you know, we're all kind of wrapped up in this emotionally, and I don't like, I want my audience prepared for the absolute worst, because usually children don't disappear, and we do have some, by the grace of God, some outliers where, like you said, you find a young, you know, people years later. You know, I wish all the cases, in all
I
honesty, were like that.
Too.
But, you know, those are so few and far between. It's just, it's heartbreaking.
They
But
really
I love your optimism. It's so refreshing.
It is, and I hold hope until they tell me otherwise. But on 26th we will be there.
Oh,
And
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Well, make sure you come up and say hi to me. I'm going to be the crazy lady with the bullhorn.
Yeah, I might be the crazy girl from Ohio. So we're going to find Sebastian.
Perfect. Well, I look forward to it.
All right. Talk to you later. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you for calling. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh, my head. So sorry. So sorry, Ohio. So sorry. Delilah's going a little crazy. I don't know what you heard her is her pulling out a bunch. I don't know where she got this bunch of stuff out. I just looked out and she's chewing on this. I don't know how old this is. Okay, this is something I got in the mail. I don't know where she got it. She's pulling stuff out from God knows where while I'm on this. She's like, Mommy, you ain't playing with me enough. Here, this looks like something you need. You look like you need some gold serum, some age perfect. What are you trying to say? Even Delilah's saying I'm getting old. I didn't think that's funny. I don't think that's funny at all. I'm just saying. She walked this up to me. I don't know where the heck she got it. I kept hearing this. And then she's got it in her mouth. Some of God's messages, you know, they come in fun little weird ways. This is Betty. Who's this, and where are you calling from?
Allie from Texas.
Well, you broke up a little bit, but hello, Texas. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. So what do you think's going on here?
Okay, so I have a question about the layout of the home, because in the Nancy Grace interview, Chris talked about the lights over the garage always being on. So where is Sebastian's bedroom in relation to those lights?
Oh, then I can actually put that up. So, where their front door is, now it's going to be odd. Where their front door is actually not the front of their house. So, yeah, let me look at the Proudfoot home. I'll show you exactly. Hold on. Are you watching your screen?
Yes.
Okay. Let's see what I can do here. Sebastian's home. Okay, here we go. Image. Okay. So let me see if I can put this up on the big screen here. We're going to have to go through. I'm blocked on JLR's page. Doesn't matter. Hold on a second. Let me pull this up. All right, so there you go. Are you seeing this? So
yes.
Their garage is on the side of their house. Their front door is on here. Now, on the front door, I don't really have a better picture than this. Actually, you know what? Let me go.
Right.
I'll tell you exactly where it is. I know we got some Zillow photos. There we go. So there you go. So this is the garage windows. There's the front door. This is Sebastian's room here, and this appears to be the dining table. So you've got the dining room on one side and Sebastian's room on the other side. Now, it is my understanding that Sebastian's room is on the side closest to the garage. which is what I think brings, a little heartburn, with the mattress being in the garage that the neighbors have observed.
Right. And see, that boils back to the other question of
Oh,
if
you're not
those
watching
lights
yourself.
are always on.
Hold on. Sorry. I didn't show you this. I'm so sorry. There you go. You didn't even see what I was showing you. I just realized you. Oops.
Because see, but if those lights are always on, Betty, wouldn't they have caught Sebastian coming out of her
If he
somewhere?
walked that way. So look at your screen right now. It should be, if it's
Okay.
not up, it should be coming up. Do you see the front of the house?
Yep.
Okay. So if you look where Chris's truck is, right here, right above his truck is those lights above the garage that stay on all the time. So in order for those lights to pick up Sebastian would have had to come out the front door like they've expressed, and then he'd have to walk this away to get into the lights.
Ah, okay. Because I was just trying to pair it up with the interview and say, okay, would this be even feasible,
Right. And as you see, I mean, even his bedroom, he has one window. And it's on the front of this house. So even if he tried to climb out his window, Katie had said that he would have fell into mush. That right there is what she's talking about, is this mush, mulch. Nancy Grace goes, are you saying mush or mulch? And she's like, mulch.
Yeah.
So there's the
gotcha.
mulch. But it's right next to the front door, so if he came out the window, guess what? It's going to be picked up on that same neighbor's camera.
Correct. And that's why I was like, okay, so we know he couldn't have went out the window. That throws that out.
Mm-hmm. Yep. But they do have a window over here near the dining room. And that's another question, is that they have another window on the other side of this, right here. And we did see those lights travel. We never knew how they got out. What if they just took the screen out and climbed out the window?
Right.
Because I'm still not convinced. I'm never going to be convinced until law enforcement puts together a real video, even with them circling the light on that still image. We didn't have a still image. This is the FBI. They can put a stinking video on their website, and they can explain it and just show the overlay and say, look, this is not what people think it is, and be done with it. No more speculation.
Right.
But they won't do it. So I don't know. I don't really know what to do with this, but we know that no matter how we look at this, no matter what time Sebastian, if he willingly walked out of this house, no matter what time, whether it was midnight, whether it was 2, whether it was 3, whether it was 10, he would have been picked up on a camera. And the people that were picked up on cameras have been identified, and that why they were out at that time of night was self-explained, whether they were chasing a dog, going out to grab their cat to bring into the house, whatever the case may be, they had an explanation of why they were outside at that time, and they've all been accounted for. So who could have possibly been out wandering around or leaving? It would have only been Sebastian, yet there was nothing except these 2 spots that, law enforcement is like, no, it's not what you think. And we're like, okay, but it seems like it makes sense. So we're not willing to throw it out with the bathwater, the baby out with the bathwater, but
Right. The whole dang thing just sounds so fishy to me.
It sounds fishy to everybody. I don't think it's just you. I don't even think haters. I think the haters did what they did to Sebastian just for content, or Seth just for content. I don't think they really believed half the crap they were saying, because logic tells you what they were saying. They were full of crap.
Right, and that's why it dawned on me to ask about why would Chris call instead of Katie doing the call, because if he's really in town, it would have auto located him, and he would not have wanted that.
Yeah. So that's kind of where that's kind of where we're at, you know. I don't believe the story he wandered off. I don't think there's anything remotely that provides any scintilla of evidence to support those statements.
No.
And it makes you wonder why these parents were pushing it so hard. And I think we have a right to ask those questions. We have had a right to ask those questions from its inception. And poor little Sebastian, you know, he still hasn't been found, but we know something ain't right here.
Right. You know, and honestly, you know, my heart breaks for Seth because 2 years too long of not knowing where your child is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's got to be super hard because as a parent, your one job is never to give up and never to give up hope. And it's to fight to the bitter end until you bring your loved one home, and that's what he's trying to do. But as you know, time goes on, I can only imagine it's getting harder for him. It's getting harder for him to listen to content creators because we're all talking about the same thing. You know, we're coming up on 2 years. You know, it's a very grim. When we start getting to this point, the outcome it's very, 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 very rarely positive. You know?
Absolutely, you know, and I just pray that like we can find something and break this wide open and see justice for this little boy regardless.
Yeah, I agree.
Thank you for taking my call, Betty, and I'll let somebody else talk.
Thank you. Well, God bless you. And if you can,
God bless
hopefully
you
you can be there for his event. But God bless you. And if you can't, be there in spirit.
I will be there in spirit cheering you guys on and praying that some answers come out.
I appreciate it. Thanks so much.
You too. Bye-bye.
So at least I didn't kick her off before she said you too. I'm so sorry, Ohio. I did not mean to do that. So we've heard from somebody from Ohio, somebody from Texas. Oh, what do you want? Have I been on here too long? Come on. I think I might have been on here too long. Usually if I'm past, am I past 2 hours? Have I been on here for more than 2 hours? Because usually she comes and starts, oh, your poor little feetsies are cold. Oh, you cold? Are you cold, little girl? Mommy should have put your little onesie on. I'm so sorry. I feel your little paws. No, I'm not going to go put your onesie on now. No, we're not going to play with Lammy. No. I'm almost done. Thank you. She's a pushy broad. What can I say? She's just like her mommy. 2.25 hours. Yeah. Eva Lee, good morning or good evening. Hello. I hope everybody's doing well. Let's see what we got. If you ever spoke, I missed it. I'm sorry, Eva Lee. This is my first time talking with you or seeing you. What? Is there somebody new in our chat? I have reached out many channels. No one's listening to me. About what? I can tell you. Yeah, I think I'm with everybody else in my chat. This is the first time we've seen you. We're such a large family here. We're here every day, so we kind of know each other's names. So we kind of know when somebody's new up in the house or we haven't seen them in a while. And you're Eva Lee. I mean, you would think a lot of people have the name Eva, but quite frankly, I don't know really a whole lot of Evas. I know an Eve, and me and her don't really get along. I think she's from Texas, but anyways, doesn't matter. Aw, yeah. Call in and ask. So, actually, there's no point in calling in at this point because we're going to be closing down the show. I think I've been on here just a little itty-bitty bit, and Delilah's kind of pushing me. I think she either has to go to the bathroom or wants to go out before we call it a night. It looks like it's probably dark outside right now, so it is what it is. Guys, we're going to continue to go through this. We're going to continue to update these interviews. Please pass the fact that we are going over the Sebastian Rogers case from the beginning. We're using AI as a tool to help us decipher some things. Some things, it's starting to really make us see where we've excelled and see some areas that we could have done better. For example, not this late, not in this cold weather. She can read. We call it, what do we call it? We call it fetch now when we're talking, out loud, right? We call it fetch because when she hears that other word, that one with the B, She goes crazy. So I've got to be very careful not to use the B word. So I've got to use fetch. Okay, so she can read. And I think she can smell too. I think she smells the words, okay? Shh. Okay. Shh. Don't make me kick you out of the chat. No, I'm just joking. But for example, one of the things that we didn't realize is the custody. Look at all the stuff Chris did to Nina for trying to get custody of her child. And now look at all the stuff that's happening because Seth was about to get custody of Sebastian. I think they were truly scared that Seth was going to turn around and start asking for child support. And or something. I mean, I'm unsure. I really am. I'm unsure. I'm unsure what they were thinking. I don't know. I feel like this feels like somebody blew up. This feels very unexpected. I feel like if this was expected, if this was premeditated, if this was pre-planned, there would have been no need for a 3-hour conversation. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that it can't be pre-planned. I'm just saying it doesn't feel that way to me because there's certain things that we would expect to see. And I really think what gives it away is the 2 to 3 hour phone call. You know, because we've always talked about how that whole reasoning, what they were doing, what was going on during that time has always been very hazy and it's never made sense. And Chris has contradicted himself multiple times around that area by loosely talking about other things like the dogs and how Katie, you know, it was just off the walls conversations and he let it slip that Kate, when he's out of town, Katie always lets the dogs in the bed. Only when he's in town, those dogs have to be in the crate. And it's like, wait a minute, you just told us she crated him that night. So even though he wasn't even talking about Sebastian at that moment, he had leakage that came out that contradict his statements that he made about Sebastian, which further implied that somebody's lying here, right? If the dogs were in the crate, it was most likely because Katie was doing things that would have upset those dogs. So I don't know. You know, we have a lot of variations with their story, and that's never sat right with me. It's clearly not sitting right with you. It's clearly showing red flags and deception according to AI. You know, AI is a little bit smarter than me. They have a lot of tools and stuff that I don't have. But I feel like it has been a great tool to utilize for all of these interviews. And we're going to keep plugging them in. As you guys see, I plug in handfuls at a time. That's why it takes so much time, because it takes time to go and find these interviews, you know, log them, put the link in there, and then go in there and get the transcript, cut and paste the transcript, paste it in. And like I said, like one of them that I pulled today didn't even have a transcript button on it. So I had to download it. I had to upload it again. Then I have to wait now for the transcript to generate on my account so I can plug it into the system. And I had to do that to 2 of them. So we're not even going to be able to plug those other 2 in until tomorrow. So it does take some time, folks, okay? It just does take some time, but I am working it. It's just me. Maybe I'll, you know, one of these days I'll show some things that I do behind the scenes. And maybe you guys can help me with some of this stuff, you know, because there's a lot of stuff that are simple enough to do. People just need to know where to go and find it. And it'd be so nice just to have several Word documents. You guys go pull all the transcripts and send me the Word documents and I can just plug them into the system and get done a lot quicker, because I'm basically working 2 jobs now, right? I've got the true crime and I've got the political stuff. So I'm dealing with 2 jobs, 2 completely different job criterias too. That's why I'm running political stuff in the morning and doing true crime stuff at the evening, because I'm trying to balance, 2 completely different lifestyles and trying to merge them into one. And it's been, a little tug and pull, but that's okay. We'll get through it. It's not going to stop. This is where our channel is going. We're a conservative Christian channel. We support Trump and immigration enforcement and stuff like that. And if, those are things that we believe in here on this channel. If it's not something that bodes with your ideology, be or what you like to support. We like to be just like we like our politicians. We like people to be upfront and transparent with us, right? We don't want you being somewhere where you're not wanted or you will hurt your feelings or, whatever the case may be. It's just, I love everybody, but we just agree completely wrong differently. And at the end of the day, I don't want to be disrespectful. It's just best that you don't be on the show because this is how we are. This is how I am. And so if you can handle it, perfect, you're welcome. But if you can't handle it or hurt your feelings, then I'd rather you watch another channel and be in the good graces of you than you feel bad about yourself. I never want anybody to feel bad about themselves, but I'm very, very opinionated on the matters of this country. And I am very opinionated on who's causing the problems. And some of those things hurt people's feelings because it is the white liberals of this country that is causing the most chaos. And the white liberals in this country are such the minor a group of people causing the most problems. So, there's my problem. And, some people are white liberals and they like true crime. So I just want to make sure that they know that there's different channels. Okay. I don't want to be disrespectful to them, but I'm a conservative. I'm a Trump supporter. I believe in MAGA. I believe in the rule of law, and I believe in getting involved and doing my thing. So a lot of people don't. And I just want to make sure where you're supporting. So if you want to support me, support me. If you don't, have a great life. I'm not going to lose any sleep. Neither are you. So have a great night. God bless you. Tomorrow for Florida, if you don't know, we got a front moving in the state of Florida. By Sunday, we're going to be freezing our ass off even more than we were this week. So you might as well go ahead and start pulling out the warm clothes because the season is here and it's upon us, like tomorrow. All right. Rock it out with your coffee beans out. Don't forget to be fearless. If you see something, say something. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And until next time, please be safe, but more importantly, kind to one another. Have a great night, you crazy folks. We love you up here on the Bullhorn Betty Show. And we'll see you guys tomorrow on the Bullhorn Betty Show. You guys have a great night, and God bless you. Don't.